Hey everyone, I'm Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design, and today is a special one because today is a Kohler Takeover Day. As we get started, can I just cheer them for a minute? Listen up, everyone. Our great friends at Kohler were the very first to partner with us on a marathon like this last year on DesignTV, and we're really honored to have them back for number 2. Now, all day we'll be discussing sustainability, personalization and customization, and of course, design. So who better than Kohler, a global leader in the design, innovation, and manufacture of kitchen and bath products? Now, hold on everybody, because we're going to kick off this special day with someone who has been with Kohler for over 26 years and truly understands the DNA of the company, their history, monumental growth, and what it really means to lead by design, lead by always innovating, and being good stewards of the environment to make a difference in the world, because that's what it really matters at the end of the day, right? I am very excited to introduce the Senior VP heading up HR, Stewardship and Sustainability and Social Impact, Laura Kohler. Laura, how are you?
Hi, Cindy. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to share you with everybody. Now, Laura, first we have to get started talking about this. 26 years, and I know your role has been a hybrid, but like having that kind of perspective, especially today, is so critically important. What has it been like for you?
Well, I've been so fortunate to be on this journey with Kohler. And, I actually met you many years ago when I was Vice President of Communications. And we probably met either at a kitchen and bath show or at the furniture market in High Point. And
sure.
so just really a great journey from communications into human resources and really amplifying the work and social impact over the last 10 to 15 years, and really then embracing sustainability and driving our sustainable footprint and the importance of that to our associates and the communities that we work and live. So I've traveled the world for Kohler, opened plants, visited associates, talked to customers from India to China to New York, and it's been really amazing.
I love that. I love that. I mean, your perspective is worth everything for the company. All right, so wait, a couple things. First of all, for everyone out there, like I know that you're headquartered in Kohler, Wisconsin, and that you're one of America's oldest and largest privately held companies. This is amazing stuff, by the way. I kind of know this part too, 50 manufacturing locations worldwide. Wow. But, and I didn't know this, and I'm sure the audience didn't know, founded in 1873. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so
Tell us about this.
yeah, we're old, Cindy. Almost 148 years old,
Unbelievable.
and honestly, we're only in the 4th generation of Kohler leadership. So my great grandfather, John Michael Kohler, started this company, came over from Austria when he was 9 years old, traveled up the shores of Lake Michigan, and where he landed was really this port city called Sheboygan, Wisconsin. So fast forward, today we're 36,000 people around the world, over 50 manufacturing plants. We're in a number of different industries. And it is exciting to be able to continue to inspire and engage our communities around the world and get to talk to architects, designers, and really continue to learn from the people who are part of your network and make us better.
Yeah. Okay, so I love the early days. Can you kind of paint us the picture of how it all started?
Yeah. So my great-grandfather, John Michael, picked Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and because it was a port city, there were sailors coming in and out of the port, and there were bars in the port. And it became a little bit racy, and he thought it wasn't conducive to a serious manufacturing environment. So he decided to move the plant 3 miles away from Lake Michigan to a town called Riverside. And it was really the junction of 2 trails and not a lot of population. So it was really out in the boonies. And, but, you know, he persevered. The plant burned down a number of times, which is amazing tenacity to work through that kind of difficulty. And he rebuilt the plant. And then who was his customer? But the farmer, the local farmer. And he started off making cast iron implements to serve the market that was right outside his back door. And that's really how we started in the cast iron business. And think, you know, think farm equipment. And then he moved into decorative garden benches and chairs. And then he moved from there into cast iron bathtubs. And the story goes that he just took a hog scalder, put 4 legs on it, and there you had the first bathtub. So all that and Riverside changed into Kohler because he invested in land. And as he brought workers over from Germany and Austria, they needed places to stay. So he built a dormitory called the American Club. Today it's a 5-diamond, 5-star resort.
Yeah.
And
we still stay in that now. So, right?
Exactly. And yeah, and the workers raised money out of their wages, saved money, and we helped them build houses on the south side of the village, which is the original place where the houses popped up. And the workers brought their families over from Europe, and that's how Kohler Village started.
Amazing. It's such a great story. And you know, we talk about history, and we talk about the history of innovation, like what innovating meant back then to what it looks like today. And I know you have amazing, like, you know, touch points throughout history. So will you play this game with me? I'll give you the date. You tell me what you guys were making.
I will try to keep up with you.
Okay. All right. So these are kind of like product milestones, right? So, all right, what was happening in 1911? Can you believe it?
Well, that was the first one-piece bathtub with an integral apron, which is that piece that sits around the rim of a bathtub. And that was a big accomplishment because that was done in one mold. And the apron didn't break off. So that was a big achievement for us.
Wow. So the one mold was a big achievement, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Okay, 1927.
Oh,
colors. Now colors.
Yes. So vitreous and cast iron matching colors. That is a huge, difficult achievement because they're different materials. And getting the enamel to perform and to look the same on a vitreous lav or a cast iron lav and a vitreous toilet, very important. Designers might care about that, actually.
They will really care about that, and they'll think that's really, really interesting. Okay, let's go to I can't believe I'm saying this, in the 70s, so 1973 was the 100-year anniversary. What was happening then?
Well, that was actually when I was alive. So 1973, we had the birthday bath, which was a really beautiful replica of one of the very first designs that John Michael Kohler had done. So think a bathtub with a curved apron and 4 clawfoot legs and beautiful colors like champagne pink.
Wow.
And we had tubs stacked with champagne bottles and lots of great photography and celebration. And it was a media event for that time. And we were super proud of that milestone, 100 years, and brought out new colors, like a very vibrant red and an intense black.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that, because I think this spans the 70s, but let's talk about marketing and ad campaigns, because there's one that's super memorable.
Yeah, so my grandfather is Herbert Kohler Sr., and he was, one of the things he was known for was introducing the bold look of Kohler, which was this amazing marketing campaign in the late 60s and into the 70s. And today we even still use the bold look of Kohler. But think Mod Squad, think, you know, greens and harvest gold and bell bottoms and really amazing racy little sexy shapes and images in advertising to really bring fashion into the bathroom. And my grandfather was amazingly ahead of his time and had a great advertising department. And it was just considered breakthrough advertising with breakthrough colors and product.
You say Bold Look of Kohler, any designer knows that campaign still. That was brilliant. And talk about being a pioneer and innovating, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
A new program that still exists today started in 1985. Do you know which one that is?
Oh, well, yes, artist editions.
Yes, there you go.
So if you ever visit us and see that artist editions product being made, it's beautiful because we have honed the practice, the craft of these beautifully designed decals that get pressed onto the form of usually a lav. And it's just something that helps the consumer be their own designer in many ways and bring flair to their bathroom. And it's been a super fun journey to watch artist editions evolve.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we talk a lot about sustainability, and we will have some conversations today about it. But in 95, you also pioneered a new toilet.
Right. So this was, for some consumers, it was confusing, but it was a dual flush Ecolite toilet. And, you had to figure out which button to push depending on what happened in the toilet. So, some consumers had to learn. So I thought it was fairly intuitive, big circle, little circle, things like that. But, that was, new for its time. And now we're all very used to that functionality.
Absolutely. I love the way you describe that. Okay, let's move to 2007. We talk about water, but how about the other way?
Well, yes. So this is one of those products that I was a little skeptical about. It's called a waterless urinal. And, so think about, okay, in theory, it sounds great. Take water. Why should we use potable water, drinkable water in a urinal or a toilet, right? Isn't that a waste? So if we could figure out how to flush a toilet, how to flush a urinal without using drinking water, that's an amazing water impact story. So we came out with a waterless urinal, and we were named best friend in the business, or best business friend to the environment. And it was a big breakthrough for us because it was really taking our ideas on how to improve environmental impact with our products and putting it into commercial practice and actually getting a product to market.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Okay, so, these days we're all talking about, with everything that's happening with the pandemic, we're talking about things we touch and things we don't touch. But it was in 2013. It's kind of crazy. You think about that long ago, you guys developed a faucet that was touchless.
Yeah, I think it was the Sensei Touchless kitchen faucet.
Right.
And, I don't know if my father, my brother were the brainchild of that faucet, but it was something that we wanted to try, and it worked and has now become common practice, particularly in commercial installations where you wave your hand and the faucet starts. So again, another breakthrough technology concept that we pioneered and that we're pretty proud of today.
Yeah. So that brings us to by the way, you did amazing. But it brings us to 2020. Maybe, is there a product that maybe the Moxie we could talk about for a sec?
Well, yeah. So we're trying to also bring fun into the bathing experience. So it doesn't have to be always luxury. Luxury can take many forms. What we learned through COVID and really through the last couple of years is the bathing experience can be something different to many types of people. And how do we engage sometimes maybe the younger consumer into the bathing experience? So Moxie definitely does that. It makes showering fun and it brings music into the shower in a brand new way. And I'm really proud of how we've approached messaging that product, because it just, again, it brings something that we've not done before. Laughter, lots of music, lots of free form expression into the bath that is, again, turns a corner for us. And I hope we do more of it.
I love that. And I love also, Laura, you've talked to me about the fact that we know how forward Kohler thinks in terms of innovating and technology, but sometimes you just want to take a bath and you, right? That's what you say.
Yeah, so we have been forward in Internet of Things, bringing technology, infusing technology into the showering experience, the toileting experience, the bathing experience. But sometimes the consumer might just want a stripped down product that is a beautiful form and gives a great luxury soak. And I love the fact that you can get that kind of soaking tub at Kohler that is really, the technology's in the design, but not necessarily infused into the product with lots of different functionality. It's purely, simply a soak experience.
Right. Like you were saying, like, I don't have to read the directions.
Yeah, right. Now, I might be unique, but I do admit sometimes I just don't want to read the directions.
Right. I love that. I love that. Okay. So thank you for that. I mean, it's, you know, if you ever go to Kohler, designers out there, you can go into their sort of museum. What is it called?
The Design Center.
You go downstairs and you can kind of, you get to see the history.
Yeah, so it's the lower level of the Design Center.
Okay, yeah.
And you should come and see it because it's renovated and absolutely beautiful. And the social impact story is now told in a really important way in the Design Center. So I'm really proud of it. And the Arts Industry Program, which we also lead, and that's over 50 years old. And that's where we bring artists into the pottery and into the foundry. And that's also, you can see a great representation of our arts industry pieces.
I want to say that you have a mantra, but it was kind of a secret mantra that became a movement within the company. You were saying like it was like folks going rogue, and it's believing in better. Can you kind of talk us through how that developed?
So Kohler had a history going way back to my great grandfather of, I would call it at the very basic, doing good for the community. Mm. He was head of the Opera House in Sheboygan. My great uncle Walter Kohler was also the governor and ran the company at the same time. You know, my grandfather felt that the rights of the worker were really important and wanted them to have the freedom of choice, whether to join a union or not. So generationally, Cindy, Kohler Company has always been about the rights of the worker, the wellness of the worker, and the wellness of the community. We just never figured out how to put it all together and call it something.
Right.
And finally, you know, about 10, 12 years ago, we said, well, what could we call this thing? And then somebody said, well, how about Kohler stewardship? We're stewarding our communities. And then somebody said, but why are we doing it? Mm. And people said, well, we're doing it because we believe in better. We believe in a better world. And that is really what took hold. And from there, it was like, you're right, it is the why. It's the why we do this stuff. It's the why John Michael Kohler did it. It's the why Walter Kohler, Herbert Sr., Herbert Jr., and all the associates. It's buying into the fact that we're here on this planet to make a difference, not just make a faucet, not just make a toilet, but we're actually in the work we do every day, helping the communities, helping the consumer live a more sustainable life. And that's really what drives us, is putting it all together under believing in better.
You were telling me that there was like kind of a small group that developed on the side, and then it became bigger and really good things came out of it. And now it's like a thing, right?
Yeah. So that's when I almost got fired, but I didn't. Yeah.
So,
so it is called Innovation for Good. And it started off about 7 years ago with quiet gatherings, meetings, undercover, so to speak, with industrial designers and engineers and some of the people on my team meeting after hours, meeting on the weekend with their ideas about how to impact some of the world's biggest problems. They couldn't do it in their day job because their day jobs were filled with new product development, timelines, and projects. But they had these passions. They laid awake at night thinking about innovations that they could use to save water, to impact power generation, to save resources. You name it, the teams were coming up with all these ideas. So then we went into working with bosses to see if they could be off the clock for like 3 days in the summer one time. And we started retreats and we had competitions. And from that, we demonstrated that we could actually deliver commercial ideas that would be really important to the world, but also be important to Kohler. So the Waste Lab is one of those very examples that came out of Innovation for Good. The Clarity water filter is another example. Right now we're working on container-based sanitation that doesn't require infrastructure. And we're working with a partner in Nairobi called Synergy on that project. But what we decided, Cindy, is that this is all worth it. And we got funding. It took 10 years to fund Waste Lab. But now Innovation for Good is a small business unit, and Waste Lab is one of the small businesses that we run. And we actually sell product through Ann Sachs called Crackle Tile.
It's gorgeous. Designers love the Crackle Tile from Waste Lab. I mean, it's so brilliant.
We actually won an award, I think it was in 2019 at the Kitchen and Bath Show, for one of the best new products. And it was the emerald green Crackle.
Yeah.
And have your network stay tuned, because we're about to launch a beautiful Kohler Waste Lab tile collection in this fall.
Amazing. I mean, the color is so dense. It's so yummy. Beautiful. I mean, congratulations on that. And also things that are making a difference. I mean, using waste to create a new product. I mean, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's 100% recycled product, 100%. And in 2020, it avoided 8.7 tons of waste going into landfill. Wow. That's just amazing.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, Laura, you're a big company, a global company, and that sometimes gets tricky, like just in terms of who are we? What are we supposed to do? Give us a little bit of a perspective on that.
You're right. We are somewhat different in different countries, but there is this common foundation, this common thread that really does connect all of us. And that is, and I don't mean to be cliche about it, but it is this sense of believing in better. And whether you're in China, you have believing in better work that they're doing with their customers, with their associates. And it could be massive tree planting. It could be water projects. The same thing is happening in India, Cindy. The same thing is happening in the US. So it's really assessing what your country needs, assessing what your community needs, and then how do we use our best skills and abilities to apply our know-how to strengthen those communities. And that's many times, Cindy, why people come to Kohler and why they stay, because they get to participate in those projects.
You were telling me that you needed to get to almost like the DNA of the company again, just in terms of defining who you are. And it was a one-word answer, right?
It was a one-word answer because we surveyed our associates.
Yeah.
And they came back and said water. Right. Water is what we care about. And water was competing with education. It was competing against hunger, lots of different really important needs out there in the world. But our associates told us that we were uniquely suited to help be part of the solution. SDG, Sustainable Development Goal number 6, which is delivering more clean, safe water and addressing sanitation, in the world. And they're right. You know, we are uniquely suited. We deal with sanitation and water every day in our businesses, with our consumers. We understand the markets, we understand the technologies. So they essentially ask us to apply our capability to solve that huge issue. And so we plunged right in, and now we have something called Safe Water for All, which is the umbrella project. And we have mini projects inside each one of those in China, in India, in sub-Saharan Africa. And now I'm really pleased to say we have water projects going on right here in the United States.
So Laura, let's talk a little bit more about Safe Water for All, and what does that really mean, and who does it impact?
So Cindy, I've traveled to India multiple times, and in fact, I was just there in March of 2020, right before COVID really shut down transportation. The impact of the lack of safe water or even safe sanitation on women and girls is tremendous. If a girl doesn't have access to sanitation, if they have to walk a mile from their village to go to the bathroom in a field, believe me, that impacts their ability to go to school. If they are menstruating and they can't have safe sanitation in their school, they stop going to school. And then their parents keep them home to do duties around the house. If they're many times the water carrier for their family. So they travel outside the village to find water, and that can take all day. So what happens then? The women and girls get relegated to household tasks, and they're taken out of the education system and then out of the economic cycle. So that's why it's important. You know, it's really taking and connecting our associates with the why that they are, through their innovation and focus on safe water, we are impacting lives and strengthening communities. Women and girls will be engaged in the economic strength of their community in a much different way if we can deliver those solutions.
And by telling those stories, that also creates such an impact that people want to make a difference.
Absolutely. And we don't have any, until you really visit a community that doesn't have it, you don't understand how lucky we are. And how do we bring the luxuries of safe water and an infrastructure to other parts of the world so that they can have the benefits of education and economic development that we've had.
And I understand that you're working on 6 innovative water projects across the Navajo Nation, right in your own backyard.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we all forget that there is a water crisis right here in the United States. And infrastructure, what many of us have the luxury of having every day with a water faucet that turns on and clean drinking water comes out. You don't need a filter. Being able to go to the bathroom and have privacy and cleanliness, that's not something that's everywhere in the United States. And we have to keep remembering that. And the Navajo Nation is particularly at risk because of their 1 in 3 people in the Navajo Nation don't have access to clean water or safe sanitation. And it is unbelievable that, you know, in this day and age, we have it right here in the United States. So we jumped in and we're working with them on 6 projects. They're called micro water grants, I think, and helping people can apply in the Navajo Nation, and we and Dig Deep, the partner, supplies them with resources so that they can take their idea, their innovation, and try to impact many. And we hope that it continues to grow and thrive, and we can lead by example and get other companies to join us.
It's really touching. It really is. Okay, so Laura, as we sort of close this program and have the day together, what's next for Kohler?
You know, something that we didn't touch on, Cindy, that we feel passionate about is design for environment. And design for environment is a methodology that today touches only a portion of our kitchen and bath products, but we actually want to make it how we do business inside Kohler, that every engineer and designer will be schooled in design for environment, and every product, every service will go through a lens of DFE. And the goal would be that every product has an eye towards its environmental impact, and consumers can pick and choose and understand which products will help them be better stewards of the environment. And continuing our impact on using design to impact end of life cycle usage and things like that, that the consumers will continue to care more and more about. And that's how we think our stewardship will keep evolving.
Well, I can't tell you how touched I am by the conversation. First of all, sharing you with everybody, but also all the deep leadership commitments that Kohler has on top of manufacturing amazing product for our community. But our community cares about making a difference, and we need leaders like you to move that forward. And so I want to thank you for that, Laura.
So thanks, Cindy. And I would just say, join us. More voices, more people, more involvement. There's lots of big challenges out there in the world, but together we can put our talents together to solve some of those really challenging problems. And we will turn the corner on them if we all work together.
Absolutely. Believing in better with Kohler. And we're going to have a great day today. Big hug to you, Laura. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, I'm Helene Oberman, Managing Director of Interior Design Magazine, and I'd like to welcome you. So we are here today to discuss Cersaie, the global destination where one can learn about the latest product innovations and the hottest design trends from the world's leading manufacturers of surfaces and bathroom furnishings. The show takes place in the very lively city of Bologna, known for its magnificent buildings and its maze of medieval lanes weaving through century-old porticos. So after a very long year on hiatus, both the show and the city are waiting to be rediscovered. And with that, I like to say, bentornato a Cersaie e Bologna, welcome back. With me to provide insight into Cersaie and some of the design trends you will be seeing both at the show and on the streets of Bologna are Cristina Faedi, Manager of Promotional Activities for Ceramics of Italy, and Kristen Coleman, Senior Vice President of Novità Communications. Benvenute. Welcome, ladies.
Grazie. Grazie.
So first off, there may be some in our audience who are just not familiar with the show. So, Cristina, can you tell us what is Cersaie?
Well, Cersaie is the most important international exhibition for ceramic tiles and bathroom furnishing. As you said, it takes place in Bologna and it comes every year. Unfortunately, we couldn't have the last edition in 2020, but we are ready for 2021.
We all are. Okay, so when and where will it be taking place? Obviously, you said Bologna, but where in the city?
Yeah, it will be now more or less 2 months. So we'll start on September 27th until October the 1st. It will be the 38th edition of the show. And we can say it will be one of the most important international show that will happen after the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. So Italy and Bologna are back open and welcoming visitors again?
Yes. The show, we are proud to say that is happening in person. So that this is a very important issue. And we are almost fully booked. We can say we are close to 100% as to the rates of, to the figures of 2019. So this is a good result. And the 15 pavilions we have there are complete. And we will have 600 exhibitors there. We can say that half of those exhibitors come from abroad, from 25 countries. And so we think that this is a great result, and these figures could attract many visitors. And to do that, to help them to organize their trip, we arrange a special section on our website. And the section is called Bologna Together. And this will help the visitor, but also the exhibitor, to organize their trip to Italy. So they can check information on flights, hotel, and taxi, trains, restaurants, and whatever. And also every safety disposition will be at hand for all those who want to visit Cersaie and Bologna.
Mm-hmm. So obviously you make it as easy as possible for someone both to exhibit and to attend. Let's dive into some of the great specialties that both the city and the region are known for.
The people that will come to Bologna will not only find in Cersaie, of course, tiles and sanitary ware and all the other sectors that are displayed there, but also a very welcoming city from the food point of view, for example, because maybe not all of you know that Parmesan cheese and prosciutto and tortellini come from there. But also the surroundings and the area around Bologna is very interesting. For example, Sassuolo, that is the cradle of ceramic tiles, Italian ceramic tiles. And there, supercars like Ferrari and Lamborghini and Maserati are constructed, but also balsamic vinegar and thermal bath. And so it's a very very interesting country to explore. And why not, if there is time enough, to have just a couple of days of rest there and enjoy the surroundings.
It certainly sounds like a foodie's heaven. But Christina, you really took advantage of this last year and used the opportunity to re-envision the look and feel of the show, both from the exhibition layouts really down to the branding. So let's start with the new logo for Cersaie. What does the concept stand for?
Yeah, so the new logo is a square, a cube that opens to new opportunities and multiplies in different pixels to explore new vision of the future. And in fact, the payoff says open to evolution. So just to signify the desire to embrace new stimuli and develop them into fresh opportunities. So that's the graphic visual of our advertising.
Okay, and of course, in terms of the exhibition center itself, for those who've attended the show previously, they will be pleasantly surprised to see the new and improved look of the exhibition center. So what will they find there?
So the exhibition background, so in Bologna, just developed with 3 new areas and new pavilions. So we will surely take advantage of this. And we have, especially for all number 37, that is brand new, and allowed us to recreate and redesign the entire layout, especially focused on ceramic tile.
In one of these halls, the contract hall, you have an exhibition called Archi Contract, which is devoted to 10 prestigious, I think all Italian architecture firms. So what will they be showing this year?
Yeah, I mean, the concept of the contract hall, which is brand new for this year edition, and Archi Contract, that is the center of this all, is the one that I mentioned before, so open to evolution. And in fact, you will find there these 10 architectural firms that are especially devoted to contract. So they are famous, they are international firms, and they are famous for their works with real estate. Around those exhibit spaces, there will be other exhibitors of other section different from tiles and sanitary cookware. That means kitchens, interiors and exterior finishing, lighting technology, home automation, outdoor design, and wellness.
So definitely even more than just tile.
Yes.
Okay, but of course, Cersaie is not just about the latest product innovations, but you also have the ability to really delve into what is happening in the industry and hearing from some design luminaries. So what can one expect from your Building, Dwelling, Thinking conference?
Building, Dwelling, Thinking is a cultural program. It has become, in the years, more and more famous. And people who attend the show will have the opportunity to attend also prestigious lectures by leading architects, famous at international level. And I'm happy to announce that this year, on October the 1st, we will have the Pritzker Prize Shigeru Ban with us, and delivering is Lectio Magistralis. So it's a prestigious name, and we are very happy to have it with us for the second time, actually, but the first time it wasn't Pritzker Prize. Yes, it became, it was awarded in 2014.
Well, and I have to admit that Shigeru Ban is actually an interior design Hall of Famer as well.
Yeah, and many more conferences are in progress, but I'm not allowed to speak about that now, so I cannot reveal other names. So,
okay, well, everyone's just going to have to be patient and hold out to closer to showtime, correct?
True.
Okay, so I know there's some out there in the audience that really like to get your hands dirty and learn from the experts, and you also will have some live demos about tile installation.
Yes, so we have the Tiling Town. It's a unique opportunity to discover everything you need to know about tile installation and to do your job well and protect yourself from disputes. It is organized by Cersaie and Assoposat. It is the Association of Tilers, and it's specially dedicated to architects and tile layers and dealers. And there you can attend technical seminars, but also practical tile line demonstration. That is always very, very interesting and involving.
Kristen, we don't want to leave you out of the conversation. So do you have any programs for the international design trade? And can you tell us a little bit more about that?
We do. So for years now, Cersaie has organized a program called Cersaie Business, where they invite specifiers from all over the world. And for myself, working at Novita, I'm working with the ceramics industry for a long time. So we run the North American delegation. So we bring architects, designers, including the winners of our annual tile competition. So I highly recommend you, for those out there who have projects with Italian tile, definitely submit, because you do get the chance to come. But we also bring journalists as well from the US and Canada. So it's a really nice group. We get CEU credits for it. We spend 5 days or more in Bologna. So going to the show, going to visit a tile factory, eating your weight in gelato. So there's a lot to do.
Now, I know that my lovely dear colleague, Edie Cohen, we call her the tile maven because I know she's part of the delegation this year.
Mm-hmm.
So.
She is. We love Edie. She kind of helps at this point. She helps us lead the trip.
Well, you know, as much as we all would love to be at the show live and in person, and of course be enjoying that gelato, but what about for those who are unable to attend? Is there a virtual component?
Well, we are very happy to hold our show in physical version finally, but at the same time, Cersaie is presenting Cersaie Digital. It's a new digital platform to support the physical show where visitor can meet and do business in a distance, so whether they want to make the most of their time spent at Cersaie or are, as you said, unable to attend the exhibition in person. And it's running 3 weeks, which means from September the 20th to October the 8th. So 1 week before the physical show and 1 week after. And the ticket office is now open on cersaie.it. So we encourage everyone to register there, because the ticket will be the same for coming physically in Bologna or to enter the digital section of Cersaie Digital. And there you will have two main opportunities. The first one is to see to have a preview and to see, even during the show, all the new products that will be launched at the show, but also to create an additional network place where to meet the exhibitors. So we think it's a good opportunity to support the physical show in this still very difficult period we are all living.
Okay, so with all this talk about Cersaie, one may be asking, why tile?
That's such a great question, Helene. So, I mean, as you know, designers have used ceramic tile for centuries, right? Because it's beautiful, but it's also a workhorse. So now with advances in technology, and as we've seen over the past year, a really, a global concern for, public safety, hygiene, indoor air quality, I think it's become even more relevant today. So like from a material standpoint, ceramic tile is made from natural materials. It's, mainly sand and clay and other natural materials for porcelain. But it's fired at high temperatures to create, a non-porous, hard-wearing, durable material. It doesn't retain dirt. It's naturally inhospitable to bacteria and mold. Because it's inert, it doesn't burn, which also means that in the case of fire, it won't release toxic substances into the air, which can be a problem with other materials. So yeah, so I think for all of those reasons, that's why ceramic tile is fantastic, because it addresses the need for eco-friendly products, but also delivers standout quality and style without affecting occupant health.
Okay, well, let's think about the idea of style, right? And let's just talk trends and what we'll be seeing at the show this year. So we all know things are getting better and things actually are getting bigger. So at the show this year, it looks like tiles are actually going to the extreme, and that's the size, that is.
Yeah, you're certainly right. So I mean, Italian manufacturers were one of the first ones to develop these extra large porcelain tiles, but they continue to evolve each year. So right now they come in sizes up to about 5¼ by 10½ feet. And thicknesses range from 3 to 20 millimeters. So it's just exciting to see how it evolves every year. There are thousands of designs to choose from. So, more minimal designs can turn the tile into an architectural covering and really highlight architectural geometries. But then there are tons of colors and bold patterns, and with a large surface, it acts kind of like ceramic wallpaper. But either way, the large format of the tiles minimize grout lines. So they create a totally seamless surface, and we're finally starting to see it pop up in projects all over the world.
And actually the extra large size are really versatile too, because it can be used in a lot of different ways. I know you kind of touched on it, but indoor, outdoor, kitchen, bath, walls, floors, facades, correct?
Totally. So, I mean, with the extra large tiles, yeah, they present a ton of possibilities for architecture, but also interiors. I mean, in terms of, exteriors, like because the thin, large slabs are super lightweight, you can use them for things like exterior facades and rain screens, and to help regulate the temperature of buildings and energy savings and things like that. But we're also seeing some really exciting developments in kitchen and bath too, because in the beginning, these tiles only came in a super slim kind of profile, and now they're available in 12 and 20 millimeters, which means you can they can be installed in one piece, just like a slab of marble or stone. You can use them for countertops, for kitchen islands. And there's another new development, which is the introduction of marble look slabs with a through body vein. So like the companies use a controlled sedimentation process so that the veins are consistent throughout the body of the tile. And yeah, it's especially great for countertops because the edges and the corners are visually consistent with the surface. A lot of companies are making turnkey solutions too. So, you know, pedestals, shower trays, shelving. So you can literally tile every surface now if you wanted to.
It's a one-stop shop, just to get some tile. So, well, from opposite ends of the spectrum, so, you know, there's the extra large format, but then we're also seeing a slimmed down version. So how do these sort of more slimmer tiles compare to those subway tiles that we actually are also fond of?
Yeah, so it's kind of going extreme in both directions. So while you have these giant porcelain slabs, one of the micro trends that we've been seeing recently is the emergence of these super skinny tiles. I mean, subway tiles are super classic. They usually have like a 1-to-2 dimensional ratio. But these are super long and slim, and they range anywhere from like 2 by 8 inches to 3 inches by 16 inches. And they come in all types of colors and finishes. There's tons of matte options, kind of glass-like, neutral and bold colors. So they really offer an endless possibilities in terms of installation. And some of them even have really funky, like colorful pencil tiles, so you can create really interesting contrasts.
So I know that we've all spoken about the sort of health, the importance of health and well-being of an individual in a lot of conversations over the last year, and how really the access of nature can improve upon one's mental and emotional state. So with that in mind, really, how do you see biophilia being incorporated into some of this year's tile designs?
So, I mean, as you know, biophilia is such a huge component of design these days. I mean, I think back to like the glass biospheres, you know, in Seattle for Amazon that they designed. But there's also other ways that you can incorporate biophilia in more subtle ways. And for tile, believe it or not, like materials even mimicking nature can help improve like a person's mood and perception of space. So Italian manufacturers offer all kinds of nature-inspired designs. On one hand, there's a lot of cool patterns and like palms, leaves, florals, botanical motifs. Sometimes they're realistic looking, other times they're more abstract. But there's also a lot of natural material effects. So if you incorporate a wood look plank tile, a marble slab, and they're becoming more realistic looking every year, especially with advances in digital printing and also 3D glazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, one trend I think everybody loves is Terrazzo, and it's really stood the test of time, and nobody seems to do it better than the Italians.
You know, Terrazzo has really deep roots in Italian culture. I mean, you see it everywhere, just walking down the street in Bologna or Venice. In the tile industry, I would say it emerged as a trend between 5 to 7 years ago, especially when postmodernism was making a huge comeback in interiors and furniture. But it's definitely stuck around because it's really dynamic, right? It can work in nearly any setting, depending on the color and the scale of the flex. You know, it could be subtle, bold, neutral, dramatic. And some manufacturers, because the tiles are digitally printed, they're even playing with Terrazzo and using it as a template to incorporate different materials into one design, which I think is really interesting.
Well, you know, I don't think Terrazzo is going anywhere, and it's great to see sort of like how it's sort of becoming just a very modern pattern, even having but very historical roots. But let's face it, Like we've had such a crazy last year, and I think we all really just want to make our lives like that much easier. And thankfully, all the tile manufacturers are really thinking about the ease of installation, and that's a trend you'll be seeing correct, like both for indoors and out.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, looking at, so I mean, I've spent the past year looking at, new products coming out of Italy, and one development, which has been really exciting, has been the emergence of these easy installation systems. And you're right, everyone wants to make their lives a little bit easier, and especially, with the remodeling market and people retrofitting their offices, and sometimes there is a short supply of available contractors, right? So there are some systems that designers can use and install themselves. So, and I use the term install lightly, but there's floating floor systems that come with a soundproofing mat. So you can just roll down the soundproofing mat, put the tiles right over, and then it comes with a special filler. So there's no need for grout or, a professional installation of the floors. And the nice thing is, in a couple of years, if you wanted to change it, you could easily switch out the tile or switch out the floor completely. And that's something we're actually considering doing with our own office, since we're adding a little expansion to it. There's also dry interlocking systems that can help create smart floors. And it's watertight, so you can put sensors, electric wiring, control modules, they can all be placed underneath the tile surface to regulate things like temperature and lighting, which also helps to reduce energy consumption as well. So those are some of the systems on the interiors. And then for exteriors, there's a growing collection of porcelain pavers. So they come in 2 centimeter or 3 centimeter thicknesses. And the nice part is, there's a lot of nice parts, but they can be dry laid onto grass, gravel, or sand. So you can create an instant outdoor living room. I actually did this at my house this summer, which was pretty easy to do. And it also helped raise the value of our house. So that was kind of a nice bonus.
Well, Kristen, I really appreciate you really giving us sort of a deep dive into some of the trends. And Christina, I really appreciate your time and insight into Cersaie and really what everyone should be expecting at the show this year. So, mille grazie. And for our lovely audience out there, please make sure to check out the Cersaie website to learn more about attendance. And I hope to see you all in Bologna this fall. Ciao.
Ciao, Helene.
Ciao. See you there.